Listen to part of a lecture in an astronomy class.
Okay, everybody, let's get started. Today's topic of discussion is going to be our solar system's most controversial planet. You might be wondering, can a planet really be controversial? Well, if it's named Pluto, the answer is yes, it can be. Pluto. Pluto's existence was controversial from its very beginnings. It was discovered in 1930, not completely by accident, but more from a sort of fortuitous miscalculation. Astronomers, you see, astronomers were looking for something to explain what were perceived to be deviations in the expected orbital paths of the planets Uranus and Neptune. In 1915, a man named Percival Lowell had used these deviations to predict the existence of what he called Planet X. 15 years later, a young astronomer searching a region of space based on Lowell's calculations discovered Pluto and decided that it must be Planet X. However, astronomers pretty quickly, soon realized that Pluto was simply too small to account for the deviations in the orbits of the other planets. Ultimately, it turned out the discrepancies were based on incorrect estimations of the masses of Uranus and Neptune, rather than the existence of Planet X. There simply never was a Planet X, yet its supposed existence led us to Pluto, which was discovered, it would seem, simply by coincidence. More recently, however, there has been another controversy centering on Pluto, a debate of sorts as to whether Pluto is a planet or a minor planet, or maybe just an unusually large comet. Now, this disagreement, it partially stems from the fact that there is no universally accepted definition of what exactly makes a planet a planet. Now, it might seem a bit extreme, but taking away Pluto's status as a planet would not be something that is unheard of. Planets have been downgraded to non-planets before. Several large asteroids, including Ceres, were originally mistakenly considered planets. So, what is the case against Pluto? Some say Pluto should be reclassified as a member of the Kuiper Belt, a group of icy comets that orbits the Sun just beyond Neptune. As evidence against Pluto's current classification as a planet, they point to its size, its eccentric orbit, and its relationship to Charon, its only known moon, and its physical composition. So, what's so odd about Pluto's orbit? Well, it actually causes Pluto to cross paths with Neptune, making it the 8th rather than the 9th planet from the Sun for 20 years out of its 249-year orbit of the Sun. And Pluto also rotates on its axis in the opposite direction of most planets. Another factor that makes Pluto stand out as being different from the other planets is Charon, its moon. Charon is unusually large in relation to tiny Pluto, causing some to charge that if Pluto is indeed a planet, then it's a double planet. The physical makeup of Pluto is also a cause for question. It appears to be made up of mainly rock and ice. Now, inner planets such as the Earth and Mars also tend to be small and rocky, but all of the known outer planets are larger and gaseous in nature, except for, of course, Pluto. Pluto is the outermost planet, yet it doesn't seem to conform to the rules. But perhaps the biggest strike against Pluto is the fact that it is so small. Pluto is just 1/6 the size of Earth. It's even smaller than 7 of the moons of other planets. However, even though it's smaller than any of the other planets, it's important to remember that Pluto is also far bigger than any of the minor planets or known members of the Kuiper Belt. So in terms of size, Pluto is neither here nor there. Also, in spite of having a similar icy makeup to the comets of the Kuiper Belt, Pluto is different from them in other important ways. For one thing, Pluto has an atmosphere like the other planets do. And it also has polar ice caps that sometimes thaw as Pluto draws nearer to the Sun. So, is Pluto a planet? Part of the problem lies in a profound lack of information on Pluto. It is, in fact, the only planet left that has never been visited by a spacecraft. So, for now, the answer is yes, Pluto is officially a planet. But whether it will still be considered a planet 10 or 15 years from now, well, it's hard to say. There's a good chance that in the near future, as more and more information becomes available, scientists and astronomers will be looking at our solar system very differently than we do today.
Now get ready to answer the questions. You may use your notes to help you answer. Number 6. What is the main focus of the professor's lecture? Number 7. According to the professor, how was Pluto discovered? Number 8. Why does the professor mention planet X? Number 9. According to the professor, what are some reasons people think Pluto should not be considered a planet? Click on 3 answers. Listen again to part of the lecture. Then answer the question.
However, even though it's smaller than any of the other planets, it's important to remember that Pluto is also far bigger than any of the minor planets or known members of the Kuiper belt. So in terms of size, Pluto is neither here nor there.
Number 10. What does the professor imply when he says this?
So in terms of size, Pluto is neither here nor there.
Listen again to part of the lecture. Then answer the question.
So, is Pluto a planet? Part of the problem lies in a profound lack of information on Pluto. It is, in fact, the only planet left that has never been visited by a spacecraft. So, for now, the answer is yes, Pluto is officially a planet.
Number 11. What does the professor mean when he says this?
So, for now, the answer is yes, Pluto is officially a planet.